When the world gives us a multi-layered pop culture-laced gem like Stranger Things, there is seemingly no stopping fans and their theories. What's coming next? What came before? And why do they insist on wearing those shorts? And with its retro setting and supernatural themes, Stranger Things is a show that really could go anywhere. Well, maybe not into space. That would just be Alien. Season 3 of Stranger Things is just around the corner, and the full-length trailer is doing the rounds, so we thought we'd run through some Stranger Things Season 3 upside-down theories that totally make sense, ranging from mind-boggling to downright depressing. One thing's for sure, the Duffer Brothers have proven that they don't do things by halves, so if any of these theories sound a little too out there or unrealistic, watch an episode of Stranger Things and get back to us. Welcome back to The Binger. So it's pretty well known by now that the guys behind the Hawkins lab experiments are pretty depraved, holding kids against their will, experimenting on them like lab rats. They seemingly have zero morals and are the reason Hawkins is such a hornet's nest of all things awful. Being the epicenter of misery, it's not unreasonable to link a multitude of bad happenings to said lab. Bob has disappeared? Yep, that was their fault. Fuel prices have gone up and I've lost my car keys? Yeah, why not, that was probably their fault too. Although the lab is closed for business, it's clear that the ripples of its destruction have yet to cease, and that brings us to Hopper's daughter, who we know passed away from cancer a few years back. There are a few things to consider here. Maybe she fell victim to something from the lab, which ultimately caused her illness, perhaps some sort of radiation. Another possibility is that she was actually one of the lab subjects, like 11 or 8. What if Brenner and co used her for experiments without Hopper knowing, and as a result, she became ill? And even more shocking, what if she's still alive and is going to make an appearance in Season 3? Maybe after knowingly or unknowingly drawing her into one of their experiments, they faked her passing so they could continue their work on her uninterrupted. We already know they can convincingly create bodies and fake autopsies. They did it with Will, remember? So the gate to the Upside Down is closed forever, or so we're led to believe. But the Mind Flayer is still very much at large, judging by its looming presence at the end of Season 2. Going by the trailer, the Mind Flayer is not an immediate threat in Season 3, or at least not an obvious one. It seems like the gang are going about their daily lives relatively uninterrupted from supernatural forces. So what gives? Well, the Duffer Brothers have put the Mind Flayer in their back pockets, so to speak, alerting us to its presence without giving too much away. The question is, what can it do to hurt the people of Hawkins? Well, a better question might be, what can't it do? We've already seen that the Mind Flayer can control people's minds. It took over Will's consciousness in Season 2. Just because 11 has closed the gate to the Upside Down doesn't mean that the Mind Flayer can't still get to the gang. In fact, there's even more reason for it to do so now, as it's aware of just how powerful 11 is. Imagine if the Mind Flayer could take over 11 and rain hellfire on Hawkins. Then what? It may be biding its time until it understands more about her, or simply waiting until her guard is down. Another possibility is that Hopper or Dustin become the latest zombie for the Mind Flayer to control. Let's not forget, they both got sprayed in the face with some sort of mucus when they were exploring the Upside Down. Not much was made of it, all the more reason to think that the Duffer Brothers have something up their sleeves. And Hopper in particular would be a perfect vessel. He's trusted, strong, and integral to what keeps the gang together. The obvious target for the Mind Flayer would be Will, again. Although after 2 seasons of being the boy that needs saving, the show's creators have said that he'll be taking somewhat of a backseat in Season 3, which is to say he won't be as in danger and need saving as much as previous seasons. The Duffer Brothers aren't the type of guys who treat any of their characters as immortal. They're not afraid to put them out of their comfort zone and, in most cases, right in the line of fire. I mean, we've still not gotten over what they did to poor old Bob. Let's keep it together now. Oh, Samwise Gamgee. Sean Astin. Oh, we love you. Anyway, we think it's quite likely that a key character could be bumped off in Season 3, especially with the showmakers saying that this season is going to have the highest stakes ever. But who could it be? Well, we'd be surprised if it's one of the main troupe, being 11, Max, Dustin, Mike, Lucas, and Will. But we wouldn't be surprised if it's Hopper. Due to his surrogate father/guardian role with 11, we can totally see Hopper meeting his end. He's like the T-800 of the series, and like Schwarzenegger's cyborg, he steps in whenever he needs to and will sacrifice himself if push comes to shove. If he does get bumped off, we hope he gets a super teary goodbye like the T-800 did, although somehow we don't think a mere thumbs up is going to suffice. And on the subject of Terminator, the scene where 11 closes the gate to the Upside Down totally looks like the molten steel scene from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Right, that is definitely our last Terminator reference for today. If Hopper does meet his end, we may see 11 unleash new levels of power as she goes into berserker mode and seeks vengeance. Maybe she will somehow morph into the Season 3 monster. Whoa, we hope not. If we've learnt anything from Stranger Things Season 1 and Season 2, it's that Billy is a nasty piece of work. And from the Season 3 trailer, it's clear that he's set to play a big part, being the frontrunner as the new villain. However, maybe the Duffer Brothers are trying to throw us off the scent. I mean, sure, he could mutate into some kind of monster and ultimately terrorize Hawkins, becoming another string to the Mind Flayer's bow. But we have previously seen that the creators of Stranger Things are very capable of making a villain a good guy. Just look at Steve. From the off, he was so easy to hate. He played the typical, obnoxious, arrogant school bully. And yet the writers did a huge U-turn and made him one of the most lovable characters in the entire series. Could this be what's in store for Billy? Nobody would expect it. Maybe it's like the Johnny Lawrence effect from The Karate Kid. We're told not to like Billy, so we kinda just go with it, whereas he might just be a really unconventional good guy. Although, we can't excuse the casual racism and general disdain for everyone and everything. So, what if, after being consumed by evil, Billy realizes that he's got to step up and save the town of Hawkins if he wants to save himself? He battles with his demons, finds a way to overcome the odds, and eventually saves everyone. Or maybe the gang finds a way to separate Billy from the new monster, and he is forever grateful to them for saving him. Sounds unlikely, right? I don't know. Speaking of who the next villain might be, we wanted to just quickly turn our attention to the rats of Hawkins. Thanks to numerous clues and hints, we can expect rats to be some sort of key indicator or play a part in the insidious goings-on of Hawkins in Season 3. We know that there's some sort of huge monster coming to Hawkins, so maybe these rats could be scurrying towards where it is nested, and possibly acting as its food source. Picture it. Billy turns into a weird Cronenberg-esque monster thingy, he drags himself to a nearby warehouse where his mutation grows worse and worse, and then he feeds on the swarming rats. Yikes. Dr. Martin Brenner is a huge part of Stranger Things, particularly Season 1, being a key player in the Hawkins labs and its experiments. In Season 2, we were told that he is still alive, and much like the Mind Flayer, he's not just gonna go away on his own. It's very likely that Eleven's spiritual sister and fellow lab test subject, Carly, aka 8, will be returning, but it's unlikely that she'll be merely popping by just to say hello. In fact, it's more likely that she'll be returning with an entourage of other test subjects, looking to exert their revenge on Brenner. Maybe one of them will be Hopper's daughter. Hashtag intertwining theory. The show's creators have alluded to the existence of other test subjects and the fact that we might get to meet them. Otherwise, naming two of them, 8 and 11, is pretty pointless, right? So, Carly could be gathering them together for a showdown with Brenner, 11's name being on her list of recruits. However, if this does happen, we're not too sure 11 would go along for the ride. Sure, she probably wants revenge on Brenner as much as anyone, but since being taken in by Hopper and integrating into the normalish life of Hawkins, we think she might just want to stay put. So far, fans have been loving the BFF relationship between 11 and Max that's been alluded to in the trailer and teasers. Would 11 really want to lose the normality she's built, just so she can dig up her past? To be honest, we wouldn't be surprised if you see her using her powers less and less, as she tries her best to blend into society. Yes, this is already a popular theory making the rounds, but for good reason. What we know about the Upside Down is that it resembles Hawkins exactly, and it's pretty much the end of days, with destruction all around. So what, where, or when could this be? Well, although the words alternative universe have been mentioned, the Upside Down could in fact be the same universe, just at a different point in time. And the Mind Flayer could be orchestrating Earth's, or at least Indiana's, destruction. Think about it. The present events of Stranger Things could be leading to the apocalypse, which wipes out all humans and leaves mutated creatures, demagogues and such, to roam the desolate landscape. And when we see characters going to the Upside Down, it's all part of a huge self-fulfilling prophecy that ends with, well, the end. But what could bring about the end of days? The obvious thing is nuclear war, with the snowy ash-like debris in the air indicating its aftermath. However, if that's Earth's fate, why bother with a gang of kids from Indiana? Surely there's an easier way. Well, not if the end of the world is rooted in superhuman powers from someone like, I don't know, 11? The entire Stranger Things series could be hinged on the fact that the world is coming to an end, and our favourite group of misfits are a last hope. Maybe this season or a following season will see them come to that realisation and try to change things now so that the future is different later. This is all starting to sound very similar to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Yep, I lied about not making any more Terminator references. It's just such a good movie. If our apocalyptic theory is to be believed, the gang could become the heroes that save the world, but what if the world is in peril again? Well, the actors who play the kids in Stranger Things are growing up fast, so it can't take over in its current setup for very long. So maybe we will see a hiatus, with the guys ultimately returning when they're older to fight another impending force. Kind of like It and its sequel, or the British movie and TV series This Is England. Same characters, same universe, just shifted to a different time. Imagine that, Stranger Things goes 90s on us, with Tamagotchi monsters, rabid Furbies and huge beanie babies that fire pogs at you. Sheesh, where do we sign up? So which Stranger Things Season 3 theory do you think is most plausible? Are there any big ones we missed out? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Binger for more awesome videos like this. See you next time.